The moment Daniel Harper and his wife, Elise, rolled into Willow Crest, it felt like stepping into a postcard. Nestled against the rugged embrace of the Pinewood Hills, the suburban enclave radiated a quiet charm tree-lined streets, curling lazily past manicured lawns, colonial-style homes with gleaming shutters, and the soft hum of a community at ease. After 6 grueling years stationed at a remote research outpost in Greenland, where Daniel had studied glacial shifts and honed her VY-val tactics against the unforgiving Arctic winds, this place seemed like a sanctuary. The glossy Willow Crest brochure had sealed the deal. A haven of harmony, unity, and pristine VYing. They'd craved a softer life, a reprieve from the endless white and biting cold. And on that crisp October day, with the sun painting the treetops in shades of amber and crimson, Daniel thought this could be it. Home. Move-in day buzzed with promise. Neighbors swung by with warm smiles, homemade casseroles, and quick hella-small gestures that felt like a balm after years of isolation. But amid the friendly chatter, one figure stood out like a storm cloud on the horizon. Margaret Maggie Voss, a wiry woman in her late 50s, strode up their driveway with the precision of a drill sergeant. Her ash-blonde hair was pulled into a tight bun, her navy blazer crisp despite the autumn breeze. In her arms, she clutched an intimidating binder, its spine emblazoned with Willow Crest HOA bylaws in bold, embossed letters. Her hazel eyes raked over Daniel's unpacked, rugged crates of Arctic equipment stacked beside the MOVY ing truck before locking onto him with a look that hovered between appraisal and disdain. "Welcome to Willow Crest," she said, her voice sharp and clipped, like a blade slicing through silk. "I'm Maggie Voss, VYC president of the Homeowners Association. We have standards here, strict ones, and I trust you'll adapt quickly." She thrust the binder toward him, her thin lips curling into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "This is your guide. I suggest you study it." Daniel, still dusty from hauling boxes, took the binder with a polite nod. "Thanks, Maggie. I'm Daniel, and this is Elise. We're just settling in after a long stretch up north, looking forward to the quiet life." Her gaze flicked to the crates again. "What's all this?" "We don't permit clutter in driveways past 24 hours. It's in the bylaws, page 17. "Research gear," Daniel replied, keeping his tone even. "I'm a climatologist, spent years in the Arctic studying ice patterns and extreme weather. Don't worry, it'll be in the garage by tomorrow." Maggie's eyebrows arched, a flicker of skepticism crossing her face. "An Arctic scientist? Interesting. Well, just ensure it's out of sight. We value appearances here." With that, she turned on her heel and marched off, Leah VYing Daniel with a distinct impression that Maggie Voss was a force to be reckoned with, a blizzard in human form. Willow Crest wasn't just peaceful, it was a tightly controlled ecosystem. The HOA dictated everything: mailbox heights, exactly 36 inches, fence colors, muted earth tones only, and even the precise dates for holiday lights, December 1st to January 15th, no exceptions. Most residents complied cheerfully, proud of their pristine streets. Others whispered about Maggie's iron fist. She'd once fined a widow do lot $200 for planting unapproved tulips. Another time, she demanded a family dismantle their kid's treehouse because it disrupted the aesthetic. The HOA president, a mild-mannered retiree named Tom Grayson, seemed to defer to her at every turn. Maggie was the real power, a self-appointed guardian of Willow Crest perfection. Daniel tried to settle in, unpacking his gear and marveling at the luxury of a thermostat he could actually control. But Maggie's shadow loomed. One chilly November afternoon, as he tinkered with a snow sledge in the garage, she appeared again, binder in tow. "We're finalizing next year's budget," she announced, her tone brimming with self-assurance. "I'm proposing upgrades, new benches for the park, a revamped clubhouse. And we're trimming waste, like that absurd snow removal contract." Daniel paused, wiping grease from his hands. "Snow removal? That sounds essential. Winters can turn fast roads, need to be clear for safety." Maggie scoffed, flipping open her binder to a spreadsheet. We've barely had flurries in years. The city plows the main roads. We don't need to shell out thousands for private crews. Residents want lower fees, not overpriced air VYCES we rarely use. He frowned, years of analyzing weather patterns flashing through his mind. I've tracked systems like this. Even mild regions can get hit hard. One bad storm and unplowed streets could trap people, especially the elderly or anyone with medical needs. Her smile tightened. We'll manage. I'm confident the board will agree practical investments over paranoid precautions. She snapped the binder shut and left, her heels clicking against the pavement. Daniel watched her go, unease coiling in his gut. The latest forecast he'd skimmed hinted at a volatile winter ahead, Arctic air masses poised to clash with southern moisture. Maggie had no idea what she was dismissing. By early December, the warnings grew louder. Meteorologists buzzed about a perfect storm, brewing frigid air dipping south, primed to unleash havoc. Daniel attended an HOA meeting armed with data from the National Weather Service, charts showing rising odds of heavy snow, even in Willow Crest's temper pocket. I'm not saying it's certain, he told the board, his voice steady, but the risk is real. Cutting snow removal could leave us stranded if the city can't keep up. A few heads nodded, older residents like Mrs. Carter, whose husband relied on weekly chemo, looked worried. But Maggie, perched at the table's center, radiated smug certainty. We voted last week, she said, her tone syrupy with condescension. The contract's terminated. Funds are better spent elsewhere, like the clubhouse reno. It passed 6-3. Gasps rippled through the room. A man in the back called out, "What about emergencies? My daughter's asthmatic ambulances need clear roads." Maggie waved him off. The city handles major routes. For our streets, we'll hire plows if it's truly dire. Stop catastrophizing, Daniel pressed. What if it's more than we can handle? Blizzards don't wait for last-minute fixes. But Maggie cut him off. Discussion's over. Next item. Her dismissal was a brick wall, and Daniel left the meeting with a sinking feeling. She was playing roulette with the neighborhood's safety. Mid-December brought the first test. A modest storm dumped 8 inches overnight, not a monster, but enough to snarl Willow Crest's unplowed lanes. City crews cleared the arterial roads, but the neighborhood's winding streets stayed buried. Daniel watched from his window as cars fishtailed, neighbors shoveled in vain, and frustration mounted. He and Elise grabbed their Arctic-grade shovels and started clearing paths, helping an elderly couple nearby. But Maggie's response was a curt online memo. Pitch in and shovel its community spirit. Forecasts warned of worse to come, and Daniel's dread deepened. The real nightmare hit just before Christmas. A monstrous Arctic front collided with Gulf moisture, birthing a blizzard of historic proportions. Winds howled at 40 miles an hour, snow piled up at a rate of 2 inches per hour, and temperatures plunged to single digits. By dawn, Willow Crest was in tune. Drifts swallowed mailboxes, roads vanished under 3 feet of snow, and VY-cibility shrank to a white blur. The city declared an emergency, prioritizing highways and hospitals. Subby VY signs like Willow Crest, sans private plows, were left to fend for themselves. Panic set in fast. Daniel saw Mr. Larson, a widower across the street, collapse while shoveling, his breath ragged in the cold. An ambulance stalled at the neighborhood's edge, unable to breach the drifts. Families ran low on food. A young mother down the block wept as her infant's formula dwindled. Daniel and Elise sprang into action, donning their polar gear-insulated suits, snowshoes, the works. They trekked house to house, delivering blankets, checking on the vulnerable, and towing Mr. Larson to safety on a makeshift sled. "Thank God you're here," a neighbor rasped. "We'd be lost without you." But where was Maggie? Rumors swirled. She barricaded herself in her sprawling colonial, allegedly hiring a private plow for her own driveway while the rest of Willow Crest suffocated. Fury simmered beneath the snow. Daniel rallied a crew neighbors with snowblowers, a borrowed snowmobile from a nearby dealership, and a network of walkie-talkies. They carved crude paths, marked them with flags, and rotated shifts to avoid frostbite. Elise turned their Lee Vying room into a hub, logging needs and dispatching aid. A local diner owner donated soup. Strangers became allies. It was chaos, but was served VY Val. The storm raged for 3 days, piling snow to 4 feet in spots. Media caught wind. HOA axes snow removal, strand hundreds, and Willow Crest became a national scandal. Reporters braved the fringes, filming Daniel leading volunteers through chest-deep drifts. This was preventable, he told a wind-battered camera. We're holding it together with grit and luck, but we need real help plows, resources. The HOA gambled with our lives. Social media erupted. The Willow Crest crisis trended. Maggie's name VY lified as the architect of the disaster. Her budget cuts, her smug defiance, her refusal to heed warnings all laid bare. On day 4, as the blizzard eased, Maggie made her move. A private plow rumbled onto her street, clearing her property while neighbors watched. Lee VYD. She emerged in a fur-trimmed coat, shouting, "This is my right. Want her roads cleared? Pay me, I'll bill the HOA triple for my trouble." A crowd gathered, incensed. "You left us to rot," a woman screamed, her voice raw from days of fear. Daniel stepped in, voice booming, "You can't hold us hostage. The world's watching you." Finished. The plow crew, overhearing the uproar, balked. "We're not pawns in your game," the driver snapped, shutting off the engine. "Clear it all, or we're gone." Maggie's face twisted with rage as they drove off, the crowd jeering. She retreated, humiliated, but the reckoning was just beginning. The aftermath was brutal. Lawsuits rained down. Residents sued the HOA for negligence, targeting Maggie personally for damages. Medical bills from falls, spoiled food, a burst pipe that flooded a basement. The DA launched a criminal probe, citing her dismissal of expert ad VYC and her attempted extortion. The HOA board, under public pressure, ousted her in a unanimous vote. Then came the arrest cameras rolled as Maggie, defiant to the last, was cuffed and led away. "This is outrageous," she shrieked, but the EVY Denke was ironclad. Her trial was a circus. Prosecutors painted her as a tyrant whose hubris endangered lives. Neighbors testified to their suffering frostbitten fingers, a missed heart surgery, a child's asthma attack in an unheated home. The defense floundered, claiming budget woes and bad luck. The jury deliberated for mere hours, guilty of reckless endangerment, plus CIVYL penalties topping millions. Her house was seized, her reputation shredded. Headlines crowed, HOA queen jailed in blizzard debacle. Maggie faded into infamy, a cautionary tale whispered over fire pits. Willow Crest rebuilt. The HOA reinstated plows, funded preparedness workshops. Daniel led the first, sharing Arctic wisdom and fostered a tighter community. The blizzard scars lingered, but so did a new resilience. As spring thawed the snow, Daniel and Elise chose to stay, rooted in a place forged stronger by crisis. And when winter returned, the plows rolled in on time, a quiet promise that no one would ever gamble with their safety again. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.